What's up guys, my name is Ace, and just recently we've got quite a bit of new information with Modern Warfare. This is first off from an interview with Joel Emsley, the art director over there at Infinity Ward, where there was quite a bit of information revealed, and we're going to be talking about some of the key points on that today, as well as the return of the Specialist Strike package. I'm not talking about specialists like we have in Black Ops 4, I'm talking about specialists from like Modern Warfare 3, where instead of kill streaks, you're able to earn extra perks as you chain kills together in a single life. Now, before we get into this, for my disclaimer, Activision did fly me out, put me up at a hotel so I could capture this early gameplay footage for you guys. So first up, let's have a look at some of the key pieces of information that I wanted to talk about from the Game Informer interview with Joel Emsley. There's a ton of other little tidbits and pieces of info that I won't be talking about today because I just feel like they're not really worth mentioning. They're not really a big thing. But if you guys want to check that interview out, I will leave a link to that down below. So first up, something that was really interesting within that interview, which isn't really too surprising, but it's the first we've heard about this. When Joel was asked about the potential of remade maps from Call of Duty 4 or other previous Infinity Ward titles, his answer was, "We'll have to wait and see." Now, while that isn't official confirmation of everything, the way he said that, and also just the fact that he said that rather than no or probably not or something like that, it does imply pretty strongly that we will be seeing some remade maps. And shortly after that question, he was asked, "What is your favorite map from COD 4? And he said Overgrown. So could be a little bit of a hint that we'll see some returning maps like Overgrown, for instance, in Modern Warfare, which I would be totally on board with as long as there's also enough original content. I feel like that's something Black Ops 4 didn't do the greatest job with. While it is nice for that nostalgic factor to play on some older maps, at the same time, it's nice to have as much original content as possible. So as long as it's not interfering with that, I think that would be great to see some returning maps from previous Infinity Ward games. Next up, he talked a little bit about the Spec Ops mode, which at this point, we are still completely in the dark when it comes to Spec Ops. We have very little information about this, aside from the fact that it exists and it's in the game. But one thing he did mention in relation to Spec Ops is it has so much more depth than it did before. So if you guys think back to Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3 Spec Ops, it was pretty basic. It was either the little missions that you play through and get your like 3 stars on, which didn't have a ton of replayability once you did master that level and get those 3 stars. And also in Modern Warfare 3, we had the Spec Ops survival mode, which was pretty interesting, but again, I just feel like it didn't have too much depth and replayability once you really figured out a good tactic to lock things down and last for a really long time. Additionally, when it comes to Spec Ops, he did mention that it would be a continuation of the campaign, so it would actually continue the story and push it beyond the campaign a little bit, and they do intend to support Spec Ops post-launch, so it's not going to be something they pop in the game and it just stays in that state the entire time. It looks like they will be supporting this, so potentially adding new missions with DLC as time goes on, which would be really neat. One last thing relating to Spec Ops is he did confirm that split screen will be available for the Spec Ops mode. After that, there was a little bit of talk about Battle Royale, and once again, nothing confirmed at this point. But when he was asked about Battle Royale, Joel once again responded with, "We'll have to wait and see." This statement strongly suggests that something is going on behind the scenes. Not too long ago, there was an article that confirmed that Infinity Ward was not working on a Battle Royale. They were just focusing on the other elements of the game. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have another studio like Raven, for instance, currently developing a Battle Royale for Modern Warfare. And there have been a lot of leaks and rumors suggesting that there will be a Battle Royale component coming for Modern Warfare. And this statement from him, once again, also the way he said this, you'll have to go and watch the interview to see how he says this. It does give me the impression that something is going on behind the scenes with one of the other studios, and it does lead me to believe that we will in fact be seeing some sort of a Battle Royale for Modern Warfare. And I think this could be a really good thing, especially if Infinity Ward is not even touching it and it takes no development time or resources away from them. If it's a completely different studio like Raven, for instance, developing that, I think that could be great. As much as I think Treyarch did a really good job with Blackout, and I know Blackout has a ton of really hardcore fans now, which is awesome, I was very annoyed with the fact that it seemed obvious that it pulled so many resources away from multiplayer as well as zombies, and therefore overall, the whole Battle Royale thing kind of left a bad taste in my mouth this year because I play Call of Duty because I enjoy Call of Duty multiplayer. And as somebody that primarily plays multiplayer, I did feel quite neglected this past year. So if it's true that Raven is handling that behind the scenes, I think that could be awesome. And to take it a step further, I think it would be amazing to see a free-to-play Battle Royale component coming with Modern Warfare. And additionally, if it were up to me, it would be great if it launched on a separate client as well. So it wasn't technically attached to the Modern Warfare game. And this would just make it so, first off, downloads would be split up between 2 different games, so you don't necessarily have to download a 12 gig update every single time there's an update, which is a little bit ridiculous in Black Ops 4. But that's just kind of my ideal situation when it comes to Battle Royale this time around. Of course, though, I am interested in hearing what you guys think about the potential for Battle Royale this time around. Is it something you're really looking forward to? Do you want that? Do you not want Battle Royale because it may interfere with other resources? Or are you just kind of indifferent? You'll take it or leave it. But with that, that's everything I wanted to cover from that interview with Game Informer. Like I said, if you want to check out the entire interview, link will be in the description below. There were a ton of questions asked. It was something like 129 questions asked of Joel, although a bunch of them were kind of nonsense questions or they didn't even relate to Modern Warfare at all. But if you've got the time, I would encourage you guys to check that video out. But this brings us to the next topic I wanted to discuss in this video, and this is the confirmation of not only the ability to use score streaks in Modern Warfare rather than just the standard kill streak system, but also confirmation of the Specialist Strike package coming back to Modern Warfare. So this was confirmed in an Activision blog post, and with this, they said there's a perk called Point Man that lets you go back to score streaks if you want to, and if you like that playstyle. Additionally, they said you can also opt out of kill streaks and use perks in a specialist system. Now, at the event where we captured this gameplay, we did not have access to Point Man or the Specialist Strike package, so we really will have to wait and see how things are balanced out, especially regarding that Point Man perk. Since you do have to select a perk, it'll be interesting to see if it will actually be worthwhile to select that perk in order to get score streaks instead of kill streaks. It seems like they really will have to make it worth your while to switch over to score streaks, otherwise there's not much incentive to use that perk over a different perk that could potentially help you out more. Now, when it comes to the Specialist system, though, this isn't actually going to be activated by a perk. This was confirmed by Joe Seacott on Twitter. He shared a little bit more information about the Specialist system. Somebody did ask him, will you have to use a perk to run Specialist? And Joe says, nope, the Specialist system is an extra option in the perk menu. This option unlocks during player progression, and when running a loadout with Specialist, your kill streaks are overridden with an extra 3 selected perks. So that was kind of interesting wording. He said it was an extra option in the perk menu, but it's not actually a perk. So that also does confuse me a little bit about the Point Man perk that they were talking about earlier, because they did mention that as a perk, rather than something in the perk menu that's not a perk. So still a little bit of confusion there for me, but there was some more information shared by Joe here. And somebody else asked him on Twitter, does Specialist bonus return, where you get every perk at a certain number of kills? Joe's response to this is there will be a bonus like in Modern Warfare 3, but it will be a subset of perks, not 100% of them, but a good amount. And he says it should feel good. So when it comes to that response, I do have some mixed feelings. Of course, we haven't actually seen this in action. We have to get our hands on the game for me to share a full opinion on this. But my initial impression based on what he said, where we're not actually going to get all the perks with our Specialist bonus, but we will be getting a subset of perks, I'm a little bit worried that it might not be enough to really make it worthwhile to sacrifice using kill streaks, especially with that lack of a minimap, because UAV and personal radar are going to be so much more vital now. I really feel like Specialist has to be very powerful in order for somebody to actually want to sacrifice that personal radar and the UAV. One thing that I really liked back in Modern Warfare 3 is when you hit that Specialist bonus, you really did feel like a super soldier. You had every possible advantage when it came to your character handling, you got all the proficiencies for your weapons, as well as every perk in the game activated on your character, but you did have the exact same health as everybody else. So yes, you were powerful in a lot of ways, but you were still vulnerable. People could still kill you very quickly if they took you off guard. When you're talking about sacrificing very powerful kill streaks, I really do feel this Specialist bonus needs to have that extra punch to really make you feel like a super soldier. If you guys remember from COD Ghosts, they did have a similar thing where you didn't earn all of the perks when you got your Specialist bonus. You would choose a set of perks that you would end up getting when you got that bonus. So from what I remember, at least, in Ghosts, you didn't necessarily feel like a super soldier when you got your Specialist bonus, but you did gain a bunch of advantages which helped you towards those chem strikes. Thinking back to that as well, the kill streaks in Ghosts were kind of lackluster. They weren't really all that amazing, and you could really do without them. So in that game, it did kind of make sense to not have a really powerful specialist bonus. When it comes to Modern Warfare, my initial thoughts, and of course, I could be wrong on this, my opinions definitely could change once I get my hands on this, but my initial impression is that kill streaks are going to be absolute crutches in this game, and therefore I hope we see a very powerful specialist bonus. I don't want to see increased health or anything like that. I still think you should be very vulnerable, but I think you should have a ton of advantages on your character once you reach that bonus. But of course, those are just my initial impressions after just hearing about this specialist system. Perhaps the way they've already got it, where you only get a select set of perks, will be just fine. But I am a little bit concerned that it won't be worth the trade-off of not having a personal radar or a UAV. And with that, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what are you guys thinking about the addition of the Specialist Strike package within Modern Warfare? Do you like the idea? Do you dislike the idea? And also, what do you think the bonus should be for that Specialist bonus? Do you think it should be something that's really powerful, like in Modern Warfare 3? Or do you prefer the more toned down version like we had in Ghosts? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time. Yeah.